Welcome everybody to another episode of live audio commentary of Criterium Video. I'm Garrick Mitchell. I race for Palmaris Racing out of Denver, Colorado. And welcome to the Dove Valley Criterium presented by Centennial Hospital. This took place Sunday, June 13th, 2021. And it was my first mass start event since the fall before the pandemic. So from September 2019 through today, I've not done any mass start racing, and it was frankly starting to get on my nerves. But the goal was to wait until all my kiddos were fully vaccinated, and I may have missed that by a couple days, but close enough. So today, I'm just going to do some stream of consciousness commentary. This is a nice flowing course southeast of Denver, kind of midway between Denver and Parker, Colorado. And I've got three teammates today, Peter, Damon, and Kirk. You see Kirk, it just went out of sight, head to the left on the orange bike. But they've actually combined my field, the 30 plus 3s, with the 40 plus 3s with the 40 plus 1, 2, 3s. And so you'll see a lot of attacks being launched. The 1, 2, 3s are a lot more aggressive than we timid 3s are. And there's Peter on the gray bike on the left there. And there's Damon on the Cervelo. Good timing. So anyway, I've got three teammates. My goal today, frankly, is to stay upright. Hopefully finish the race. I didn't really know where my fitness was. I felt pretty good, but you don't know until you actually get in there and try it. So now that I've been jaw-jacking for about a lap, we're about to complete lap 1. We've got a climb to the finish, kind of a stair-stepping climb. But today we've got mostly tailwind on this finishing climb, tail crosswind that pushes us all to the right side of the road. As I said, this is a nice, fun, flowing course. It's, I want to say, 1.2 miles. Very little of it is flat, but the climbs weren't bad. Just pretty much power climbs. This is the little flat in between two climbs. There's 200 meters to go, and then there'll be one more pitch up to the finish. And I've decided I'm going to get run into the barriers at the finish, so I move up.
Under the escort of the crew that Subaru squad here, that's for cycle 2 just making a
So that's lap 1. So we've got, I want to say about 30 people in the field, that combined field. And, my goal is not to be a tail gunner today. I am famous for my tail gunning exploits, but I'm going to move up and try to make things happen a little bit today. If nothing else, keep things together for my teammates. So I got to admit, I was having some serious FOMO, fear of missing out, this weekend. I was watching the live stream for Tulsa Tough, the Criterium Festival in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I was lucky enough to do back in 2019. That's really the only out-of-state travel race I've done since getting back into racing in Colorado. And it was a blast. It was just incredible. I could have done without the humidity, but I knew that going in. But watching the live stream this weekend was kind of driving me nuts, and I figured it was time to make my return to racing. So this was good timing. The Criterium is my favorite event, and what better way to do it than hop right back in, combined with the 1, 2, 3s. It was a lot of fun. But here we're going downhill into the wind. It's nice, huge, wide, sweeping turn, which it seems like you start the turn in about 10 seconds before you hit the apex of the corner. And then immediately you start the uphill. And again, the crosswind played a role here. It slammed us over to the right. But the roads here, at least, were so wide and smooth. It really wasn't an issue. It gave us a lot of options. But here's what I was worried was going to happen. Was every time up this hill, was going to be some gap forming, and it'd just be chase, chase, chase. Well, this particular gap never got that big, thankfully. But we'll have some other folks close down that gap. This move never went anywhere. But anyway, so while I didn't go to Tulsa Tough this year, I did get my crit on, and it was a lot of fun. So here we go. Kind of a bridge, but we're so close it really doesn't matter. So from the start, kind of finished that climb after that left turn. Very minor hill crest here, and then downhill into right-hander turn 2. It's a figure 8 course. You can see the course map at the upper left, and this was kind of a fun corner. Just kind of hang on at the apex. I need to get better about pedaling through corners. I'm still a bit timid about that. You can see I was getting a little gap through turn 2 there. Turn 3, another fast one. And then a small climb, so you see the wattage going up. You've got my distance, speed, watts, and pedal cadence, RPM. And I went ahead and put in a graph of my heart rate. Don't know how interesting that is for this race, but I'm experimenting with different layouts and data. So that brake is caught, and folks start looking around, and well, it's a nice wide road, and well, we get wide. But then another move goes, so certainly when we're with the 1, 2, 3s, it's going to be pretty consistent attacks, which makes the racing a lot more interesting, a lot harder, of course. But here I just kind of see who's going up the road. I figure, well, I better get in there. Following Dan Schrad down the hill. Well, trying to follow him. It's not a UCI race, so we can still do the super tough. Through the endless corner at the bottom of the hill. There's a manhole cover right up there. And at the beginning of the race, I thought, oh, that'll be kind of my guidepost for where I want to be on corner exit. I don't know why I thought that, but by the end of the race, I think I was always way, way inside of that, because folks were getting slamming it to the right so quickly because of the crosswind. So there's another attack up the hill. I'm content to just kind of sit in where I've got shelter. But you can see those couple riders chasing after the lead moto, so they got a nice look at it. So there's lap 3. I'm not going to count laps the whole time. You can do the math, about 1.2 miles per lap. Now things are starting to string out in earnest. There's Bennett Hug from Mod Market looking over her shoulder at me. Never said hi to Bennett during the race, but hey bro, looking back at you. Nice and strung out, going pretty fast. Watts are up there. That was a fun corner, going through a single file. And then we hit this little climb, and pretty consistently it bunched up there. So part of that may be because the leader's hitting the wind, but I didn't mind having to slow down there. Starting at 9:40, 2, 1. All right, so down the hill we go again. I'm still following Bennett. The wind direction kind of dictated to go off the left, but look, Bennett will look over his shoulder in just a minute. Anytime I see that, I think that rider may want to get over. If I'm not really alongside him, I'm going to back up. Now on the right, Kirk doesn't realize his chain is dropped. And he went all the way down the hill with the drop chain. And watch this. Oh, neutral. Now, thankfully, Kirk didn't have bad chain suck there. And he was able to just shift it back on the small ring. That was a good recovery. It freaked me out a little bit, so I'm like, screw that. So I got a nice position near the front on the sheltered side. Now, in just a minute, you'll see the Groove Rider to my left. He'll look over his shoulder. Sees me, says, "Hey, let's go." That's his butt. That's something I do. I don't see a lot of other guys do it, but that's a good indicator for, hey, I'm gonna move up, come with me. And sure enough, he goes off the front. So that's a useful gesture. Like, let's say you're in a pace line and someone doesn't pull through. There's a gap, and it's like, well, I'm going to fill in that gap. If I'm near the back of the line, I'll just go ahead and pat my butt. Tell the rider behind me, hey, I'm going to fill in that gap in the pace line. So, pro tip, it's a useful way to tell folks, hey, stay on my wheel, I'm going forward. So now I'm at the front again thinking, what am I doing here? What's my goal? What's the meaning of life? But at this point, we roll with it. So while we can see the clouds, it was a beautiful day visually. It was awfully hot. Thankfully, we had some cloud cover, so you'll notice we go in and out of shade. But I actually started the race with an ice sock, just a knee-high nylon that put ice in, put a knot at the top, and then stuff it down the back of my jersey, so it keeps the back of my neck nice and cool. I think the air temperature was, I forget, mid-90s. It was pretty hot, and I don't know, the older I get, the more trouble I have with handling the heat. But so here I am putzing around at the front, wondering when are folks going to come around me. I'm sure they will soon. But anyway, part of the race was shady. It really does make a difference here when you got cloud cover. It's nice dry air, so you don't have the humidity, but it's still the direct sun really heats you up. So there we go. So here I'm just not wanting a gap to open. I don't have any teammates ahead of me, so let's keep it all together. You can see how we're got a kind of a mini echelon going because of the crosswind. But thankfully I had a pretty decent time with the hills. The power wasn't an issue. Of course, again, the main climb we had a tailwind, which kind of mitigated the hill. We went a bit slower down the hill, but had a little help going up the hill. But still, we're not slacking. Nope, there goes Bender on the outside. He may have been hoping someone would go with him, but it doesn't always work that way. So you keep the motor running and hope that maybe some guys bridge up to you and you got a good compatible move.
chase this very moment. The man with the yellow helmet and his foot on the gas.
So here I am at the front again. You know, again, today I didn't really have much in mind in the way of strategy, other than stay out of trouble, don't tail gun. You know, certainly if I could cover moves for my teammates, I was happy to do that. But as my kiddos would say, I was just vibing out there. You know, enjoying it, getting the feel of being in the peloton. You know, group ride is one thing, but when you're pinning on a number close down the road, it really changes the dynamics. So there goes Damon. And of course I'm not going to chase him down, so I'll just kind of do a moderate tempo here. That's where my brunt of dissatisfaction. I hadn't appreciated there was another rider off the front. But anyway, I need to get better about looking at the road. So at this point, I just kind of don't want to go too far back. I'll just kind of pick up a little slipstream from the riders passing me. Now, oftentimes you'll see riders hopping in the gutter on the crosswind sections. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't really like the occasional gap between the concrete and the asphalt. I don't want to get hung up in that and the wheel trapped in it. But, you know, it's there. It's part of the road. Just if you do that, you got to be careful. Because you don't really have an escape route to the right in this case. And again, when you get out of the gutter, you got to be mindful of whether there's a lip that you can get hung up on. That can take you down pretty quick. So, Grupo Capato, all back together, thing.
Racing rolling up to the front with Damon Brad.
If I can just see that lead moto. So, some of, at least one of my Cat 123 friends, or, well, I'm a 3, but at least one of my friends that races normally with the 40 Plus Open mentioned that it was strange race dynamics today. That may have been because you're combining with the 40 Plus 3s. We're not nearly as aggressive as those guys. And of course, every move that goes up the road, everyone's asking, well, is that someone in my field? Is there someone I need to worry about? That's kind of what the 2016 racing season was like, when they almost always combined the 40 Plus 3s with the 50 Plus 123s. And, you know, they experimented with using different colored numbers to distinguish the combined fields. In the end, we all just kind of agreed, yeah, we're just going to race. We're just going to race each other and let the chips fall where they may. Now, it was interesting, if you look at my YouTube channel at the 2016 Wheels of Thunder crit, that's when they combined us in that way, and I attacked with like 600 meters to go, and got passed in the last 200 by a couple of riders, but the team they were on, I knew that those guys were 50 plus, so even though I crossed the line third, I knew I was the first 40 plus 3s, and so I posted up and put my hands in the air and acted like a goofball, and just got admonished by the officials for that. But you know what? If I know I'm going to take the top step on the podium, I'm putting them up. Guns in the air. That's a really good feeling. So here we are, strung out on the climb again. You know, my watts were up there. I weigh about 73 kilos if you want to do the watts per kilo calculation. There goes Dan Shred up the gutter that runs out of room. But anyway, I felt good today. The power felt good. I felt comfortable in the peloton. Close quarters. I know that the pros would be stacked together tighter than this, but certainly compared to like a fours race, we were a lot closer together. And then other times we weren't, because again, the road was so wide. You kind of pick your own line. There were some cracks in the pavement, certainly on this section. But, I liked this course. I keep saying it, but I did. It's not a tight downtown crit, but it's a figure eight. You got a lot of corners. You carry a lot of speed through them, so I give it 2 thumbs up. And I got to ride to the course from my house, which is always fun. I hate putting my bike in the car to drive somewhere, unless it's for a race, but... And once again, whoa! We slowed down at the top of that first little climb. And reset. A couple off the front. Ooh, I think I may be at the back at this point. So at that point, the alarm bells go off a little bit. I don't want to be stuck behind someone else's gap, or crash, or flat, or what have you. But it was a small enough field. Again, with the 1, 2, 3s, they're going to keep it fast. As we keep saying, safe is fast. It's way safer to be strung out in a real fast-moving group than all bunched together when the pace ebbs and flows. When you get that kind of churn, you get folks crossing wheels, you get folks on the brakes, it gets kind of crazy. So let's see how I handle the crosswind on this climb. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I'm at the back. Yeah, they're not really drilling it up the hill, so I'm not complaining at this point. In fact, you can see the next lap, during the next lap, my heart rate's not all that high, so this wasn't like Littleton crit where it just, well, of course Littleton is pancake flat, but when I race with the 1, 2, 3s, 40 plus 1, 2, 3s in Littleton, it just starts fast and just never slows down. But here, it ebbed and flowed. $100 premium on offer. So the first rider across the finish line this next lap, wins $100. So one thing you can count on when they ring the bell for $100 premium is that the next lap's going to be pretty fast. You can see how we're strung out. You can see what happens on the hill here. Well, you see guys attacking up the right side. There's already someone off the front. But that was the thing. As wide as these roads were, you had guys diving across. You can do that, but you want to make sure you're not chopping somebody's wheel. So do so with caution. Well, not sure what happened there. I just wanted to get back in the draft. There were some times, especially going down the hill in this next section, the crosswind is coming from the right, but there are times that I'm just hanging out on the right side because I want to get some breeze. It was hot. Maybe next time I'll put the temperature on here too. I'll check here in a minute and see what the temperature is like. But that's the lead moto up there, so it's all back together. I'm not sure how I got up to the front this late in the cream lap, but of course some folks are keeping their powder dry for the climb here. And of course I'm acutely aware of that, thinking, man, I'm about to get run over here by folks going for a Benjamin. And there you saw the black Swift rider. He kind of hopped his front wheel as he came out of the gutter. That's always good practice. So I gave a little hop up to the rider in front, saying, okay, let's keep with those guys. We don't know, we don't want to let that gap open. But we will watch the preem sprint from afar. Not sure who got it. Maybe we'll hear it from the announcer.
Arriving first. That'll take it out of the legs.
So now the question is, are they gonna continue? Are they gonna keep the pace up after that preem? You can still see a couple riders up the road, but are they going to be satisfied with going for the preem? Actually, I think there's 3 up there. You know, my heart rate got up to low 170s. Now I'm getting anaerobic around 174. I haven't been drilling it that hard much lately, but I have a feeling I will be as the race season progresses. So here's one of those times where I'm just hanging out on the right side of the downhill. I am totally in the wind, but I just want a little bit of breeze. Try and cool down just a bit because I am one hot puppy. But for the climb, I'm happy to get back in the slipstream. Watch for riders dropping back. That's the thing. I mean, in a race, especially in a crit, your head's just on a swivel. I mean, you really gotta kind of see what's going on around you. You don't want to be surprised by folks attacking around you. You don't want gaps to form in front of you, and of course, you got riders usually to either side, unless you're all strung out. It is a lot of fun, though. I hear some folks say they don't like crits, but again, they're my favorite. I mean, it's the, you know, just the action, the corners. I don't know. It's just it's the experience I'm looking for. But so now I've completely lost track. I think we've still got a couple riders up the road, but I certainly can't see the lead moto. Not at the moment, anyway. Rider raising his hand ahead. What's up? Calling for the team car? I don't know. called out to, it should be Chris Skinner, ahead and to my left, telling him that if he wanted to get in line, that that was all good. I wasn't going to get in his way. We did get a little bit bogged down. There's some effort being made to chase the riders ahead, but there's some team dynamics going on as well. If you've got a teammate up the road, then you may get in line near the front, but you're certainly not going to pull through strongly, or you're just going to sit on the wheel of the rider in front and not come around you at all. Then things slow down until other riders behind you attack around you. That's not a very efficient chase. So that time across the line, we saw 4 laps to go. We were set for a 45-minute race. The officials look at the field's average lap time earlier in the race, and then they calculate, they start counting down laps from some convenient number to make the race end as close to the target duration as possible. So we'll be right close to 45 minutes. We got, I gotta admit, it's the Thursday night after the race. The race was Sunday afternoon, and it's what, 4 days later. I don't know who's up the road or how far up the road they are. I remember who wins, but anyway, I still got a ways to go. I need to hone my racecraft. So here I think I'm going to get pushed into the gutter. Yeah, sometimes you got to do it. But I'm going to hop out. There we go. Like I say, maybe it's much ado about nothing, but I really don't want to get stuck in a crack. I've seen it happen. It's not pretty. You know, part of my risk aversion is being an old man. I'm going to turn 50 this year, which is interesting because it'll give me the option of doing 50-plus races as well, but there's no separate 50-plus 3s field. If I did 50-plus, it would be in the 1, 2, 3s. But then I could race with friends like Dan Berger, my brother from another mother. I missed you, Dan, but one of these days we will line up together and throw down. So let's see. Taking a peek around the side, but I don't know. At this point, I had made it to counting laps down. I'm happy. I'm just going to kind of, try to hang out. In the end, I'm not really making much happen today, but really for what I wanted to do today, what did I say? For what I wanted to do today, I checked off the boxes. So I'm pleased. I'm looking forward to more. We got 3 going. I feel dumb. I haven't seen the lead moto, so I'm assuming there's still a breakaway, but I could be totally full of it. Now we'll see how it pans out. In the end, spoiler alert, I think it was there was one rider who finished about 7 seconds up, and then the field sprint. So I don't know, but we definitely got 3 trying to ride off into the sunset now. But yeah, I've just got done saying really I wasn't much of a factor in race tactics today. Well, tactics, what can you do? I mean, you know, your role may be just to keep launching moves off the front, see if something sticks, maybe take turns counterattacking with a teammate, just to tire out the competition. Basically, you may be a designated sprinter, and really your job is just to sit in as much as possible, be as efficient as you can, and not work anywhere that you have to, saving your matches for the final sprint. So you can be near the front and the final run up to the line. So, you know, I'm no sprinter. In fact, I don't enjoy contesting field sprints. Back in 2019, I had a good run of a few races where I basically my job was to keep it fast near the end, the final couple kilometers, until I just died. So, you know, if I could keep it strung out, rather than having it bunch up and churning the field, then my job was done. And actually it led to, well, hopefully contributed to a couple wins for Kirk, one of my teammates in the race today. But that's a fun part about bike racing. I mean, only one guy can win, but you can still make it a collaborative, cooperative team effort. And that's fun.
We haven't seen the physio boys yet during this race. But now they are.
So I was huffing and puffing a little bit after that last finish climb there. Is that a water bottle I saw a couple seconds ago? I don't know. Sitting on the road. But that was 2 laps to go. So less than 2 to go. It's gonna start speeding up. I'm certainly near the back. Here's where I need to really start watching for gaps to form ahead of me. So, you know, the cool thing about bike racing, in theory, anyone can win. And you know, this late in the game, everyone's thinking, "What do I got to do? What's how can I win this thing?" Again, if there's someone off the front, I still don't see the lead moto. So I'm sure I'll feel silly later when I learn the truth. But, next to last time up the hill.
That's with Cycleton on the front. Run from the front on the yellow jersey.
All right, so that's the last lap. I'm just kind of chilling at the back, which isn't a recipe for success, but you know, here's where you watch for other riders sitting up. Jay right there, I noticed he was letting a little gap for him. In fact, as I passed him, he said, sorry. That was actually his first Cat 3s race. I hadn't realized that. It certainly didn't look like it. He's a very strong rider, but you know, just trying to hold the tail of the tiger here. Heart rate's inching back up to 170, and I'm thinking I'm not going to do anything from back here. So that's pretty much where I pull the plug. You know, I've met my goal today. I stayed in the group. I'm just not going to contest the final sprint. I think I started talking about it earlier. You know, there's a certain risk aversion. Now, granted, in the Masters field, we're all, you know, we've all got jobs, families, whatnot to go home to. We're not going to take unnecessary risks. Not that bike racing is particularly safe, but you know, we're not going to do anything stupid. Certainly in this group. But for me, I'm not going to contest a field sprint. A, I'm not going to place very well. B, I really am not fond of crashing. I'm on blood thinners due to a couple abnormal clotting episodes, so you know, I don't want to wreck and hit my head and get in trouble that way. But still, you know, it's a rush being in the field. So I don't know. Maybe next time I watch this video, I'll realize, you know, the group was all together, and there's the winner. Our race ended up being won by Norm Alvis, the former 7-Eleven, and did he run for Saturn? Anyway, certainly rode for 7-Eleven, and rode the Giro, the Tour de France, and he's still kicking ass and taking names. Pretty impressive. But the cool part is that the 40+3s, actually my teammates, Peter, Damon, and Kirk, swept the podium. They just sprinted, did well, finished 1, 2, 3. That's when I realized I still had my belt on. So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one. Until then, peace.